There is one psychological move that can completely flip the power dynamic with a narcissist. And Dr. Ramani talked about this long before modern psychology gave it a clear name. It happens in the exact moment you stop feeding their ego, stop reacting to their drama, and stop believing the distorted picture of you that they try to make you accept. The second you do this single thing, something deeply frightening happens inside them. The narcissist does not become stronger. They collapse inward. This is not a small change. It is a full breakdown of the mental structure they use to survive. For the first time, the narcissist is forced to feel the raw fear that comes from having no real power. And inside that fear, something shocking begins. Their grand image of themselves cracks. Their defenses fall apart. And without even understanding why, they slowly start moving back toward the very person they tried so hard to dominate. Jung would say, this is the shadow turning inward, a forced lowering of the ego. When you do this the right way, the narcissist becomes psychologically dependent on you without even noticing how or when it happened. Before you can use any method that weakens a narcissist's power, you must understand the one thing that keeps them alive. It is not their charm, it is not their confidence, it is not their intelligence, it is one thing only: your emotional reactions. Their power does not come from who they are, it comes from what you give them. Narcissistic supply is the main fuel for their inner system. It is extremely important to understand it clearly. Narcissistic supply is any form of focused attention that tells them they matter, that they exist, and that they can affect someone else. It is the energy that supports the public mask they show the world and keeps them protected from the emptiness inside. This supply does not only come from praise or compliments. A narcissist accepts supply from almost anything. Every argument they pull you into, every explanation you feel forced to give, every time you defend your character, every tear you cry, all of these are high-value supply. They do not care if the interaction is positive or negative. They only care about intensity. A calm compliment means less to them than an angry argument, because the argument shows them your emotions are deeply involved. Your anger means you care. Your pain means they can still influence you. Whether you admire them or fight them does not matter. What matters is that you are still a strong emotional source. The most powerful action you can take, the action that all other strategies depend on, is removing this supply. This is not simply ignoring them. It is a conscious choice to make their behavior meaningless to your inner world. You are not just stopping their fuel. You are shutting down the entire factory. When the supply disappears, the narcissist does not just get irritated. They go into real psychological crisis. The silence you create is not just quiet. It becomes a mirror. In your lack of reaction, they are forced to face the emptiness inside themselves, the emptiness they spent their entire life trying to make other people fill. From a psychological point of view, the narcissist never built a stable sense of self. Their ego is not solid. It is hollow and inflated. Jung described this displayed self as the persona, the mask people use in society. For healthy people, the persona is a tool. For narcissists, it is everything. It is their fake image of perfection, strength, and superiority. Narcissistic supply is the glue that holds this fragile mask together. When you stop giving supply, the mask begins to crack, revealing the insecure, broken, and shame-filled self underneath. Your withdrawal hits the core of their survival system. This is why their first reaction is always the same and always intense. The first stage is confusion. Their whole worldview is built on a simple rule: they act, you react. When you do not react, their formula fails. Their brain cannot process this. To fix the problem, they escalate. They try harder. They become louder. They try every tactic they can think of. This is called an extinction burst. They use provocation, insults, guilt trips, fake emergencies, sudden fake kindness, emotional traps, anything to get a reaction, any reaction at all. They want confirmation that they still have power. They want proof that their influence still works. This is the moment you must stay emotionally calm. If you can remain neutral through this storm, their confusion will turn into fear. Not fear of you, fear of being irrelevant. A narcissist is not afraid of being hated. They are afraid of being unimportant. To have no effect on someone is like disappearing. So when you consistently stay calm and give nothing, you send a message to them without speaking. You are saying, "You do not affect me. You have no power here." This is the moment the entire dynamic begins to turn. They stop seeing you as a predictable source of supply and start seeing you as something they cannot fully understand. Their focus changes from controlling you to trying to figure you out. You become something they cannot explain. This confusion turns into obsession. They start reacting to you instead of you reacting to them. Without shouting, threatening, or arguing, you have taken the stronger position. By staying silent and steady, you refuse to take in the parts of themselves they try to project onto you. In Jung's terms, you stop carrying their shadow. Instead, you hand it back to them. This forces them to face themselves, something they desperately want to avoid. To escape this inner pressure, they begin to soften or adjust their behavior around you. They do not completely change as a person, but they shift because you hold a mirror that they cannot run from. If these ideas feel true in your own experience, understand that this knowledge is only the first step. Taking back your own mind requires strong commitment to your own growth. When you understand supply fully, your question is no longer, "How do I survive?" but "How do I take apart their power system completely?" This shift leads you into the strategies that flip the entire dynamic. The first strategy is simple but powerful. Boundaries only work when breaking them costs something for the other person. Narcissists fear consequences much more than rules. Most people hear advice like set boundaries, but they become frustrated because it does not work with a narcissist. That is because healthy people see boundaries as agreements. Narcissists see them as challenges. A boundary to them is not a limit, it is something to break so they can feel powerful. Your emotional requests for better behavior, your carefully chosen words, your ultimatums are not solutions. They are actually fuel. Your stress tells them they still have control. Real boundaries with narcissists are not spoken. They are actions. They are not about getting the narcissist to behave better. They are about controlling yourself. The key idea is this: disrespect always leads to one outcome only: loss of access to you. Not later, not after discussion, immediately. You remove your time, your attention, your presence. It is not done with anger. It is done with calm clarity. This is the only language a narcissist understands: direct cause and effect. If they shout, you end the call. If they insult you in person, you walk out. If they demand attention, you calmly say you are not available and continue what you were doing. You are not punishing them. You are respecting yourself. That is the difference. You are no longer asking for respect. You are showing that you will not stay in disrespect. This confuses the narcissist because they usually sort people into two types: compliant or confrontational. Both give supply. Your calm removal gives none. They cannot place you. This creates a sudden emptiness where their control used to be. They will quickly react with manipulation. They may rage, accuse you, play the victim, or try to make you feel guilty. This is where your emotional discipline must be strong. You do not explain. You do not defend. You do not argue. You already acted. Your boundary is already in place. As you stay consistent, the narcissist starts connecting their bad behavior with losing access to you. They slowly learn that if they want any part of you, they must stay within your limits. You are not changing their personality. You are changing the environment. You are making bad behavior disadvantageous and good behavior the only path that works. This is also a huge step in Jung's idea of individuation. Individuation means becoming yourself fully, separate from others' influence. Narcissists exist in what Jung called participation mystique, meaning they see others as extensions of themselves. Strong boundaries break this illusion. It sends a clear message: I am not you. Your darkness belongs to you, not me. This forces their projections to bounce back onto them. They must face what they tried to place on you. This makes them see you differently, not with love, but with a cautious respect. The second strategy begins with a simple truth. A narcissist cannot control what they cannot read. This is where the gray rock method begins. You make yourself emotionally flat, offering short answers, no strong reactions, no personal details. You refuse to feed their need for drama. The aim is to starve their supply so they lose interest. But this technique, while useful, is defensive. We will build something stronger on top of it, something more advanced, strategic ambiguity. The goal is no longer to be boring. The goal is to be unreadable. Narcissists think they understand your personality deeply. They believe they know what triggers you and how you will react. Strategic ambiguity destroys that map. You stop being predictable. They cannot figure out your intentions, so their manipulation stops working. When they ask a loaded question like, "Do you even care about what I do for you?" A gray rock answer might be yes, but that still gives information. An ambiguous answer like, "That's an interesting way to ask that," gives nothing. It does not agree. It does not disagree. It confuses them. They start trying to interpret a meaning that does not exist. This forces them to fight with their own thoughts instead of pulling you into their drama. This method applies to behavior too. When they expect anger, you stay calm. When they expect excitement, you stay neutral. When they try love bombing you, you simply say, "I appreciate the thought," and move on. You become consistent in one thing only: unpredictability. This frustrates them because they cannot find a pattern to grab. They cannot locate the emotional buttons to push. The real power of this strategy is that it steals their mental energy. Narcissists use a lot of brain power trying to control people. They run internal simulations, planning how to manipulate reactions. But when every one of their predictions about you fails, their system crashes. They begin spending more and more mental energy trying to figure you out. Your neutrality becomes a puzzle they cannot solve, and it occupies their mind. They become stuck in a loop trying to understand your motives while you remain calm and unaffected. Over time, this shifts the entire dynamic without you having to raise your voice or fight. You become the center of their attention, not because you feed them supply, but because your silence and unpredictability force them to turn their focus inward, where their own fears and insecurities wait. Ambiguity turns you from a predictable source into the most fascinating and confusing puzzle in their world. Their main motivation shifts from simply taking supply from you to an intense, restless need to understand you and regain the sense of control they believe they are supposed to have. This shift is enormous in terms of psychological power. Now they are working to figure you out, putting energy into decoding you instead of you constantly spending your energy trying to manage them. In Jungian terms, strategic ambiguity makes you like a blank screen where they begin projecting their inner world. When you become neutral, unreadable, and steady, you stop being an active participant and instead become the surface onto which the narcissist projects everything they cannot face inside themselves. They will project their disowned emotions onto you with growing intensity. Their fear, their guilt, their suspicion, their hidden motives, all of it will suddenly be seen in you because your unclear responses leave an empty space their mind rushes to fill. This gives you the rare chance to witness their inner world without becoming trapped in it. You may also become the surface for their anima or animus projection, the ideal feminine or masculine figure they carry unconsciously inside them. They may flip between seeing you as an ideal partner and seeing you as a great threat, revealing the split inside their own personality. When you hold this kind of ambiguity, you are not only protecting yourself, you are using a complex psychological method that forces their hidden parts to rise to the surface. This process shakes them deeply because their identity depends heavily on feeling in control. They do not fully understand why your approval feels so different from everyone else's, deeper, more rare, almost addictive. Their nervous system quietly locks onto your attention without them noticing. Slowly, they begin living as if they are trying to earn something from you, waiting for small moments where you truly acknowledge them. In the next part, you will see how to turn one of their main weapons, the narrative, into the tool that starts breaking down their control. The third strategy is mirroring, but not the childish surface imitation people usually imagine. Many believe mirroring means copying their behavior. It does not. Real mirroring happens at the level they actually operate on, the level of the frame. And the moment you stop walking into their frame, their whole structure starts cracking. The idea of mirroring a narcissist is usually misunderstood. Beginners think it means returning the same actions. If they ignore you, you ignore them. If they speak with sarcasm, you reply sarcastically. While this may feel briefly satisfying, it is still a reactive move. It keeps you stuck in their system, still responding to their rules, and often leads to a tiring back and forth that drains your energy. The real powerful form of mirroring is not copying their behavior. It is mirroring the deep psychological method they use, their skill in controlling the frame. The frame is the unspoken meaning behind any interaction. It is the narrative that decides who is the authority, who is the victim, who is the problem, and who is the one who must justify themselves. Narcissists naturally impose a frame that makes them the noble sufferer, the wise leader, the misunderstood hero. In their frame, you become the flawed one, the dramatic one, the ungrateful one, the broken one. The moment you defend yourself inside that frame, you lose. The second you try to deny their accusations, you agree to the terms of their reality. The higher level form of mirroring is to break their frame completely and place your own frame in its position. This is how you take back control. It is not about arguing. Arguing with a narcissist is pointless because they rewrite reality faster than you can correct it. Instead, you calmly and confidently reject their version of the story and replace it with your own truth. You are not copying their tone, not copying their manipulation, not copying their anger. You are copying their method, narrative control. When you do this, you take control of the whole interaction. Let's look at how this works. One classic narcissistic frame is the "you are defective" frame. They will tell you that you're too emotional, too sensitive, too dramatic, too insecure, too needy. Most people try to defend themselves. I'm not too sensitive. I have a right to feel this way. But by doing this, you have already accepted their frame. Their frame says, I am the judge of your emotions, and your emotional stability is on trial. To break their frame, you refuse to stand trial. You do not defend yourself at all. Instead, you calmly say, I'm comfortable with my emotions. This destroys their position. It does not argue. It does not explain. It simply removes their authority. You can expand it with, it seems you are uncomfortable with my feelings. Suddenly, the focus shifts to them, not you, and their tactic falls apart. Another common frame is the I am the martyr frame. They will list all their sacrifices and all the things they supposedly do for you. The point is not to inform you, but to make you feel guilty. The typical responses are either agreeing, you're right, you do a lot, or fighting back, I do things too. Both support their frame. Instead, you calmly reframe. It sounds like you've taken on more than you can handle. Now, they are not a hero. They are someone with poor boundaries. This shifts the responsibility back onto them. This method works beautifully because narcissists expect predictable emotional reactions: anger, tears, defensiveness. They never expect someone to calmly move outside the entire story and expose the structure underneath. When you stop accepting their frames and instead enforce your own frames of respect, truth, and emotional independence, they begin to see you differently. Their tricks no longer work. This makes you both frightening and intriguing to them. They start seeing you as someone on their psychological level, maybe even above. This connects directly to the Jungian idea of the persona. Their frame is their persona, the mask they show the world. When you break their frame, you are showing them, without saying it directly, I see your mask. This subtle but powerful reflection forces them to face their own shadow, the part of themselves they hide from everyone, including themselves. You show them their manipulation not by accusing them, but by refusing to react to it. This begins to change their behavior because their old methods fail completely in your presence. If you are starting to feel empowered, starting to feel the strength that comes from validating yourself, from realizing you can define your own reality, then pay attention to that feeling. In the next part, you will learn how your attention itself becomes a tool that reshapes their behavior from the ground up. The fourth strategy changes their behavior at the root. Narcissists repeat only what still works to get access to you. Remove that access, and everything shifts instantly. Conditional attention, when used correctly, is one of the strongest ways to shape a narcissist's behavior. In most relationships with them, your attention becomes a free resource, something they feel entitled to whenever they want. They expect you to always listen, always engage, always participate in their drama, and always respond when their ego needs feeding. This strategy reverses that dynamic completely. Your attention becomes a limited, high-value reward. This is not a game of acting distant or trying to manipulate them. It is a disciplined use of behavioral psychology. Behavior that is rewarded repeats. Behavior that gets no reward fades away. Your attention is the reward. You create a clear but silent rule system. When they behave respectfully, calmly, and with a hint of genuine humanity, you give them your full, warm attention. When they switch to manipulation, disrespect, entitlement, or drama, your attention disappears instantly. You do not argue, you do not explain. You do not announce you are pulling back. You simply stop giving them attention. You might look at your phone, focus on something else, or respond in short, neutral ways. The message is not, you hurt me. It is, you are no longer interesting. For a narcissist, being uninteresting is unbearable. Over time, their mind automatically associates good behavior with the reward of your presence and bad behavior with the uncomfortable feeling of emptiness. This is operant conditioning. They will test you at first. They will escalate. They will try every old tactic. This is called an extinction burst. You must stay consistent. To strengthen this method, you add the principle of scarcity. Human beings value what is rare. Narcissists crave validation, but you will not reward basic decency. Respect is the minimum requirement for your presence. You save your true warmth and real appreciation for rare moments when they show genuine growth, self-awareness, responsibility, or kindness that is not tied to manipulation. These moments will be extremely rare, but when they do appear, your warm response becomes a powerful motivator. Because it is so rare, it becomes precious to them. They begin changing their behavior to win this rare form of validation. They are not becoming completely new people, but their outer behavior shifts because they want that unique reward that only you can provide. You are no longer trying to win their approval, they are trying to win yours. From a Jungian view, narcissists constantly seek validation for their persona, their false self. With conditional attention and scarcity, you stop validating their mask and only validate the tiny glimpses of their real self. They will not understand why your approval feels more real or more powerful, but they will be drawn to it. You become the only person in their world who validates something deeper than their mask. This becomes a psychological anchor. You are not only shaping their behavior, you are encouraging the faint possibility of a more whole self to emerge. Finally, the last stage is emotional detachment, what they fear most. When your inner world no longer responds to theirs, their power collapses completely. All the methods above are external strategies, but the real transformation happens inside you. Emotional detachment means you no longer emotionally absorb their behavior. It does not mean you act cold or suppress your emotions. True detachment is a peaceful internal state where their chaos no longer reaches you. You rise above their emotional storms. This state comes from realizing at the deepest level that their behavior has nothing to do with you. Their anger, love bombing, accusations, and devaluation are all expressions of their internal conflict. They are projecting their inner disorder onto whoever is closest. When you accept this truth deeply, their words stop affecting you. Their insults become empty. Their praise becomes irrelevant. You watch their drama the way you would watch bad weather, aware of it, but not controlled by it. To reach this state, you must build a strong inner world. First, you become your own main source of worth. Their ability to control you depends directly on how much you need their approval. If their praise lifts you and their criticism destroys you, they hold your emotional leash. You break that leash by choosing your own values and your own integrity over their reactions. Each time you choose your truth instead of their approval, you regain power. You also begin a practice of daily self-acknowledgement. You notice your own efforts, your own integrity, your own strength. You become the one who recognizes your value. Your worth becomes something you know inside, not something they can give or take away. When you do not need their approval, their manipulation collapses. The second pillar is building a life that does not revolve around them. As long as they are the center of your emotional world, even in conflict, they still hold power. You must choose a purpose, a goal, or a passion that belongs entirely to you. Learning a skill, building a career, improving your health, creating something meaningful. This purpose becomes your anchor. Their drama starts feeling small and annoying, no longer the main event of your life. Your time and energy become too valuable to waste on their chaos, wasted on their repeated arguments and emotional tricks. This is how you push them out of your mind. You create a life so full, so meaningful, and so steady that it naturally leaves less and less space for their chaos. They may still be around you, but they are no longer the center of your world. Their drama becomes something small on the side, while your purpose becomes the main focus. The third and final pillar is developing the skill to notice your inner feelings without reacting right away. This is one of the most advanced and powerful abilities you can learn. The power a narcissist holds depends on their ability to trigger quick and automatic emotional reactions in you. They are very skilled at bypassing your logical thoughts and tapping straight into your deepest fears, wounds, and insecurities. Learning how to create a pause between what they say and how you respond is the key to breaking this whole pattern. You must understand the difference between feeling an emotion and being taken over by that emotion. Their behavior will still bring up emotions inside you: anger, hurt, frustration, unfairness. The goal is not to stop these feelings. The goal is to stop letting these feelings control what you do. This is a mental exercise. When the narcissist says or does something meant to upset you, you train yourself to take a step back in your mind before you say or do anything. In that small moment of silence you simply observe what is happening inside you. You tell yourself, that comment made me feel angry, or I am feeling judged unfairly right now. Naming the emotion separates you from it. You are no longer the anger itself. You are the one who is watching the anger. You watch the feeling rise inside you. You recognize it without judging it, and you allow it to exist without needing to act on it. You can feel the strong urge to defend yourself and still choose not to. You can feel the wave of frustration and let it move through you without speaking. This practice breaks the old cycle. It cuts the connection between their attempts to provoke you and your automatic response. With every moment of observation, you weaken their power. Over time, the space between their actions and your reaction becomes bigger and easier for you to reach. You gain control over your inner world. Their strongest tactics become useless because you are no longer reacting without awareness. You are responding with consciousness. These three pillars, becoming your own source of worth, creating your own life, and learning to observe without reacting, are the real foundations of emotional freedom. They work together to build a solid inner core. When your worth comes from inside you, their opinions mean nothing. When your life is full of your own purpose, their drama becomes just noise. And when you can watch your emotions instead of being controlled by them, their attempts to upset you fail. If you have ever had to continue your journey alone, without support, without outside encouragement, guided only by your inner desire to heal and grow, share a part of your story in the comments. You never know if your experience of strength might be the light someone else needs to make it through their own dark moment. This is the last stage of your transformation. The narcissist may sense this deep change inside you. They may notice your calm, your steadiness, your new and powerful indifference to their usual tricks. They may even try in a desperate attempt to get back into your mind, to copy your new piece. But they cannot keep it up because it is not coming from a real inner foundation like yours is. You have reached something they cannot reach, a state that is whole, self-fueled, and free. You have not only won the game, you have risen completely above it. The difficult process of dealing with a narcissistic personality is, when seen from a higher view, a forced and powerful journey into the deepest parts of your own inner self. The strategies shared here are not just techniques for handling a difficult person, they are a full program for your own deep psychological and spiritual growth. Every strategy is a lesson in becoming a full and strong person. By pulling back your emotional supply, you discover the strength and value of your attention. By creating unbreakable boundaries, you learn to define, honor, and protect your personal space. By mastering uncertainty, you learn to be comfortable with the unknown and let go of needing outside clarity. By taking control of the frame, you reclaim the ability to write your own story. By limiting your validation, you learn its true value. And by reaching real emotional detachment, you build a strong and beautiful inner place that no one can break. This path, although born from pain, pushes you to face your own codependency, heal your old wounds, and build a self that is stable and not dependent on how someone else sees you. It forces you to complete the important process of becoming your own person. In this experience, the narcissist stops being just the villain. They become an accidental teacher. The intense pressure that helps transform you from a reactive piece in their chaotic game into the calm, conscious creator of your own life. The final goal is not to change them because that is impossible. The goal is to change yourself so deeply that you no longer match their dysfunction. You are no longer involved in their game. You are above it, observing everything from a place of clarity, strength, and peace. If any part of this message touched something true inside you, share in the comments which of these strategies feels most important for your own journey forward. Your story is proof of your strength, and your words may help someone else who feels alone find their way toward freedom. If you are ready to continue exploring the deeper parts of the mind and the timeless wisdom that leads to healing, subscribe for more insights into the inner world many people never have the courage to face. You were not created to live in constant conflict with your own heart and mind. You were meant to be whole. You were meant to be free. If you feel ready to go from understanding these ideas to truly living them, click on the next video. Your journey toward becoming unshakable has only just begun.